Thanks for joining us at xm.com for this Forex Preview video. I'm Christina Marujos, and joining me today is Marios Hadjikyriacos, investment analyst. We'll be looking at non-farm payrolls for March out on Friday. Now, markets are certainly going to eye this employment report, especially since the jobless claims suggest that unemployment is soaring. Do you think this week's NFP report will fully capture the virus impact on the United States?
No, not really, Christina. Mainly because all of this data was collected during the first 2 weeks of March. So that was before, most of the states went into lockdown, before all of the social distancing measures were announced. So we might see a little bit of an impact on the jobs market, but the real damage will show up in the April report next month. Now, as far as the forecasts are concerned, NFP and non-farm payrolls are expected to turn negative for the first time in a decade. The unemployment rate is expected to rise a little bit, but again, all of this will understate the real damage in the labor market. And in that sense, I think that the markets will see this data as being outdated.
I see. Now, let's have a look at the dollar a little bit because the greenback recovered this week. How do you think it will move on the NFP report on Friday?
I don't think it will move all that much. Everybody already knows that millions of people have been laid off between now and the time this job survey was conducted. So, I think that the markets will really shrug this off. They won't pay that much attention to this employment report. If we do see any movement in the dollar, I think that the risks surrounding it from this employment data are tilted to the downside. So if we get a much stronger than expected number, investors might brush it aside as being outdated. However, if we get a very disappointing figure, that could signal that the economy was already losing jobs very quickly before the lockdowns, and the situation is much worse than we imagined, and that could push the dollar lower. Now, having said all of that, I think that the most important release on Friday will be the ISM non-manufacturing PMI. That survey was collected mainly in the second half of March, so it will be much more reflective of the true state of the US economy. Now, as far as the dollar is concerned, even though we might see a pullback or tomorrow if the data are disappointing, I think that the overall outlook is still positive. And the thinking is this: the dollar has been acting like a safe haven in the middle of all this chaos in the markets, and things have calmed down a little bit. But I think that the next weeks will really be a test for the market. So will investors remain so calm as economic data start to fall off a cliff, unemployment soars, corporations start slashing their earnings forecasts, many countries extend their lockdowns, and overall I think we're going to get a barrage of negative news in the coming weeks, and I think that the markets will not remain indifferent to that.
Well, definitely we'll have to wait and see on that. Thank you, Mario, so much for joining me today. And thank you for watching this Forex Preview video here at xm.com.